Welcome to For the Health of It this morning. I am Dr. Scott Phillips, owner of Lifestyle Chiropractic and Wellness Center here in the Valley, and I'll be your personal health care expert for the next hour. And our show's very exciting today. Obviously, always we want to help you who are listening kind of improve your day-to-day health. And so today we've got a couple of really fun people that are going to give us some ideas along those types of lines. Happy Thursday. I guess we're happy the sun's out. It was raining quite a bit last couple of days. In fact, I kind of gambled riding my bike to work the last few days and lost big time on, let's see, I guess that would have been Tuesday, riding home in the rain, and then it started just pouring. And so I got about as wet as can be, but I'm now wearing those shoes. They have dried nicely. And so we're excited to be here this morning. I've got some really good guests. We're going to say hi to them here for a second. The first one, the only reason you're first is because you were first here this morning, Michelle. So the first person to introduce is Michelle Barnhart. She's a local massage therapist, owner of Summit Orthopedic and Sports Massage. Go ahead and say hi to everybody, Michelle.
Hi, good morning.
Now, Michelle, you were a little nervous to be on the station this morning. How are you feeling right now?
Nervous.
Nervous still? Well, darn it. Let's see. What I will say is don't worry about it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. And then to Michelle's left, right? Is she on your left?
She is on my left.
I could have said right. No one would have known.
No,
so I guess it doesn't
true.
really matter. To Michelle's left is Miss Jodi Ranson. She owns Mind Your Beeswax. Yep. And I actually just got a text message from somebody who asked me yesterday, who is on the show this morning? They asked yesterday, so they said tomorrow morning. But and I said, oh, we're having Mind Your Beeswax. And I guess whoever it was read it really quickly and thought I was telling her to mind her own business. So luckily she reread it and sent me a text message saying, okay, good. I thought you were being mean, but really we were just so we're going to talk about that little fun that fun place that you have and where you came up with the name and all that kind of stuff. And so this morning should be really, really enjoyable. So hopefully everybody's just ready to go, and we're very happy to have you both on. We're going to talk a few things beforehand. Obviously, I love searching out all my articles and all these things that we get to kind of talk about, but I wanted to first go into this new study that was just done about running. Now, I am a runner, so I'm very biased towards this towards this article, but I do say that if you don't like to run, please don't. You know, it's nothing that you just have to get out and do and try to like. But I am a convert. I didn't love running a long time ago, and now I do. So it's just kind of something I gradually got into. But this is a new study that was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. And what they said was this was a study of more than 55,000 adults, which is even more than people that live here in the Valley, which, you know, that's a lot of people, I guess. And they were between the ages of 18 and 100, and over a 15-year period, they were looking at overall health and then whether they ran and how long they lived and all that kind of stuff. And so here are the statistics. Compared to the non-runners, those who ran had a 30% lower risk of death from all causes. 30%, that's a third. That's a pretty big chunk. And then 45% lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease. And then the other really interesting thing, too, is when you broke it down by age, sex, body mass index, smoking, and alcohol use, benefits were the same. So basically saying if you're obese, smoking, and drinking a lot of alcohol, if you ran, you would still live longer than somebody who was the same but didn't run. Not to say you should keep smoking and being obese, but
Just as long as you run.
that's right. But get out and run. And then the other interesting thing was that it didn't really matter how much you ran. I mean, even somebody that ran like less than 6 miles a week, or even just twice a week for a small amount of time, that they still got these same benefits. And so really more wasn't a whole lot of higher benefit. And so really that should hopefully give some people hope out there that think, well, sheesh, I can't even run a mile at a time. Well, that's fine. Go out and run half a mile at a time, a couple of times, 3 times a week, and you'll still get these same benefits. And this was one of the largest and longest time-wise studies to date about the effects of running. And so there you go. I was inspired this morning when after I read this article yesterday, I thought, well, I'm going to really go for it. And this morning I ran at a faster pace than I have all summer. So I don't know if it was the article or if it was just, I don't know.
Well, I'm wondering too, what do they attribute that to? Is it just getting your heart rate up with running, or
Well,
or
that's
is it something else?
right,
Because if
'cause
you're just getting your heart rate up, you could be getting the same effects if you're an avid hiker.
right, hiking really nicely. Yeah,
or-
that's a good
or
question.
riding, mountain biking, or whatever it might be.
It didn't really go into all of that, but I wonder if it was just that heart rate raising that up a little bit and getting that going, because I wouldn't think there's anything specifically tied into just pounding the pavement step after step,
Right.
Yeah.
That way it would, if you thought you were going to get the same benefits out of it as whatever you like to do.
Yeah.
Or
That
just
would
suck
be-
it up and like running. I don't know. I don't like running either.
I like hiking.
No, but I will say really that's something that I've always propagated, is if you exercise sometimes gets such a bad rap because people are like, oh, I got to get out there and wear that outfit, and I gotta sweat, and I gotta, and sometimes it's pretty miserable, and so people just think, oh, if I can't put an hour into it, I'm not going to do it. And really, studies are starting to show that those who put an hour into it get about the same as far as longevity and things like that benefit as someone that puts 5 or 10 minutes into it.
Oh, really?
And so that's what I would say is just anybody, whatever you enjoy doing, whatever gets your heart rate up, do it. And even if you've got just 5 or 10 minutes a day to do it, it will still give you these really serious benefits. And so that was kind of a fun article that I found out on CNN, and a really good study. I think definitely something for people to think about, and hopefully, obviously, did caution at the end, like if I'm just inspiring you now and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to go out and run 20 miles, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't, people.
Go out.
Work
Of course,
up to
then
it.
they'll come and see us, Michelle.
I was just going to say, yeah. Or do.
Maybe do. So go out, start slow, start small. There's no need to be a marathon runner tomorrow if you haven't ever run before. In fact, there's no need to be a 5K runner tomorrow if you've never run before. Go out and just start slow and be consistent with it. As I said, consistency was the key. People that did it for a long period of time on a consistent basis, those were the ones. And actually, it came up to even as much as 50% reduction in heart disease, or in risk of dying from heart disease. So pretty high numbers there when it comes to risk. My fun fact of the day comes from KSL.com, but it was a study from New York for some reason, and it was talking about fist bumps being less germ spreading than handshakes.
Well, that makes sense.
And so it definitely, and even, see, this may surprise you, but they're even more germ friendly than high fives. And so you have even less contact there in the fist bump.
Yeah.
And
start grading my clients that way with the fist bump.
there you go. Now, and then you can tell them why. And this is funny. So this word says, so fist bumps popularized by Barack Obama and others. And I kind of want to be like, I'm sorry, fist bumps been around a lot longer
Right.
than our president. But whatever. I guess they just wanted to shout out to him here. But here is the percentage if you really want to know. The familiar knocking of knuckles spreads only 1/20th the amount of bacteria than handshake. So I mean that's
Maybe
a
that should be
reduction.
our new way of greeting people.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea
I agree.
if you're really worried
This was
about
meant
germs.
just-
That's right. Say hey, and there's something right about it. And my wife was really excited too when she read this, because she hates giving me high fives. I am a big high five kind of a fan. and she really gets angry, and I can always sneak them in somehow, and then after she gives me the high five, she's got this immediate regret, you know, and she gets so mad. She's like, we're really trying to phase those out, and she's been saying that for 10 years. And so maybe the fist bump is key here. That's how we can kind of meet in the middle, so to speak, and say, okay, look, we can still get our, but then she's still getting less germs. In fact, still passes along less than half of the amount. The high five will pass along less than half, but still not 1/20th in the fist bump. So I don't know if I'm calling for a change in how we greet each other with that article, but I'll tell you that it would be kind of fun just to everybody fist bump all the time.
I agree.
I think we'd look pretty hip as a town, you know. Then instead of just on the top 10 fun, you know, best small towns to live, maybe we'll be in the top 10 like coolest places to live.
It could happen.
And they'll specifically cite the fact that everyone fist bumps each other. Like, hey, cool.
But that would be for the health of it, because
yeah, and exactly,
germs.
right? And we'll say, yeah, we're like that, it's cool, but we're also passing less germs to one another. So that's one thing where sharing isn't caring, right? I mean, that's oh my heavens, we are really derailing quickly here. So let's tell the joke. I know I always preface the joke with I'm nervous about this joke because they're not always funny, and sometimes they're a little off, but this one was an interesting one. So married couple is visiting about their health and things like that, and the wife is trying to lose some weight, right, as wives tend to do, and she's doing it with the shakes, you know, the Slim Fast or whatever, and she was getting kind of frustrated because it wasn't going the way that she wanted to, and so the husband, in his infinite wisdom and jokingness, decides to say, well, maybe we should wash your underwear in Slim Fast, and then maybe that'll help shrink your bottom, you know. And she didn't think that was funny, and I think they went to bed angry with each other. And husband woke up the next morning, and he's getting ready and getting dressed for the day, and pulls out his underwear, and this big cloud of something comes out when he kind of pulls his underwear out, and he yells to his wife, "Hey, honey, why'd you put talcum powder in my pants?" And she said, "That's not talcum powder, it's Miracle Grow." So I guess there are things that we can add to. And I don't know if he ever tried the Slim Fast thing with her underwear, but I'm not sure if that would. I'm not sure if that would work either. So anyway, no article there, no studies done, but I guess she was just hoping. Anyway, let's get on to the actual show because holy cow. You know, we didn't talk about many events. They're really, I'm starting to scrape kind of the bottom of the barrel with events. The summer's winding down. People are starting to get more into school mode, which I hate to say because I have such a following among high school and middle school age people that will now be in school on Thursday morning starting in a few weeks.
Maybe they can pick it up at school.
You know, I'm hoping that, you know, they'll have their little pocket radio
class, right?
and their headphone in the middle of algebra class, and
yes.
They'll burst out laughing at the joke, yeah, and then their teacher will scold them, and these are things that I think about late at night. Anyway, so today, a few events. Let's talk about the fair for sure. That's been fun. Have you guys been out to the fairgrounds yet this week?
Did the Derby Saturday night.
Love the Derby, fantastic. Yeah. Couple of cars on their sides.
Yep.
Climbing other cars. It was very interesting.
It was.
But we went out to the party in the park. That was fun. We got rained on a little bit, but only more to just cool us off than anything else. And they've had a whole bunch of things going on. The carnival is open as of yesterday. It goes today all day, pretty much I think 10 o'clock till the dark. Noon to 10 is when the carnival's going today. And we got Battle of Bands tonight. That sounds awesome. Friday and Saturday, obviously, the Mountain Valley Stampede Rodeo. I only announced that because I get to work on the Cowboys at the beginning of the thing. So
nice.
I had one of my clients in yesterday. He's actually entering in the bulldogging part of it. And so I'm now conflicted because I feel like I should work on him better, you know, and maybe even mess up the other guys.
Oh.
So I'm like, hey, send your competition over and we'll tweak them a little bit. But I would never do that. That's just, you know, unethical and whatnot. So, but I think that'll be really fun. But the rodeo is always such a great event, and that starts. Looks like it's 7:30 both those nights with some fireworks after. If you haven't gotten enough fireworks in July, actually, I guess this will be August, so we'll have some in August too, and that'll be kind of fun. Also tonight, obviously, the concert in the park, always a fun thing, and our farmers market, which we're starting to get more produce, right?
Yeah.
I know I've seen quite a bit. I have like 4 watermelons growing.
Nice.
This is like the most exciting thing in my life. One is about baseball size even right now.
Nice.
And so now all I have to make sure, right, everyone's like, well, make sure the bugs don't eat it. I'm like, I don't care about the bugs. It's my kids that are going to come out and pick it before they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Dad, how cute this thing is. I'm like, dang it. So so hopefully they won't be doing that.
My dog thinks they all look like tennis balls.
Yeah, and
Pulls
see,
all the
pull
fruit
them
off.
out. Yeah. I wish so. That's what, in fact, my son's like, I wish we could have baseball size, watermelon, so I could just pick it and then carry it around. Because watermelon are big, and he has a hard time carrying it around. He's only 7, and so I'm afraid that he's going to get inspired and just grab it and be like, "Look, I got it!" And then we'll cut it open. There'll be like a speck of red. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that ends. But anyway, so there's going to be some more produce. But tonight we also have a band playing that has kind of a funny name, Trindiadio. Trindiadio? I don't know. That sounds awesome.
I've
But
heard of that
anyway, so come out and check that out also. Always fun things to do here in the Valley. And if you have events that you want me to know about, let me know. You can reach out to me in my office or on Facebook or anything like that. In fact, that was the other thing I kind of wanted to have Michelle talk about a little bit too before we really get into everything. For the show today was this kind of new Facebook page that you kind of piloted. I almost said pirated, but you didn't pirate anything.
Should steal it. No.
You didn't steal it, nor are you wearing an eye patch. So I don't know why I would have said pirated, but you piloted this Facebook page. It is Wasatch County Health, Wellness, and Fitness.
Yes.
And I almost think wealth should be in there too because it rhymes with health. But anyway, so we're up to a few people that are on it. But tell us a little bit about it and who you'd like to be on there and who'd you like to post and really kind of what the point was of putting that kind of a page together.
Well, the point was we have so many great fitness and healthcare practitioners in town, and I just wanted to give them a place specifically to post about their businesses and what they have to offer to the community. And also it can be a place for the community to ask questions if they're looking for, say, a chiropractor or
Sure.
massage therapist or whoever it may be. They're welcome to come and post there asking questions.
Yeah.
Either way.
So just gone onto
Events.
Facebook and you can just search out. It's Heber Valley, right?
Heber Valley Health, Wellness, and Fitness.
Health, Wellness, and Fitness.
Yes. So, and then any events as well. I've been trying to keep up on posting all of the fun different races and things
Yeah.
that we have going on.
I know I go to that site a lot of times to see what's coming up as far as events to post on here too. So I appreciate you doing some legwork for me. But it's a great site for sure. Anybody's welcome to join. Anybody's welcome to post, but you might get it taken down if you're against the rules. Because
Yeah.
we're very,
There's
we're
only
very
a few
stingy.
rules. Be nice.
I like that rule. Be
Be
nice.
nice. That's
That's
kind of a
it.
good world rule, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, check that page out if you want some information about events that are going on for sure. And again, we're getting to just kind of the money time of living in this area, right? I mean, it's just a beautiful area. The weather's great. I was riding my bike the other day, not the day I got rained on, but the day after it had rained, and I was kind of even being a little chilly. I thought, sheesh, that wind was blowing. And anyway, this is my favorite time to be here because then I can quit listening to my Texas friends be like, oh, it's hotter there than it is here. I'm like, yeah, well, it's really humid there, and you don't have any mountains. So
They've had a
anyway.
different kind of summer anyway. It's been cold.
Yeah, right? It's not fair. Tell them to quit. I'm going to tell them to quit it.
I'll stay here. I like Utah
That's
better.
right. Me too. I'm going to say it loud and proud.
That's right. We love the Valley.
We love it. So let's talk about why the heck you two are in business, what you do for people. Again, we love the idea of how can I just generally be healthier, right? How can I not wait till my engine, so to speak, falls out of my car to get it into the shop, right? What do we do on a day-to-day type of basis to really optimize our health, right? Not just feel okay, but feel really good day to day for a long, long period of time. And so we're going to talk massage, we're going to talk aesthetics, we're going to talk about some of these things that a lot of people think, oh, if, that's nice for the select few, that get to do it, but other people, normal people, don't really do that on a day-to-day basis.
So not true.
I know, right? So that's what we're going to dispel rumors. We're going to
Good.
knock down myths, and we're just going to have a good time. So Jodi, you were elected to talk first because Michelle came first, and she said we're going to talk to Jodi first because she's not
I
here.
see how it is.
I know. I didn't know she was like that, but I found that out this morning. And so tell me about your place. I know you guys just celebrated 2 years, didn't you?
We did.
I know. I wish you had been on here then because we could have talked about all the amazing deals you were doing because I was paying attention to those. But here you are 2 years later. Tell us a little bit about kind of what got you into doing what you're doing, why you wanted to start the business, and maybe even if you want to go into the name because I think it's super clever and great.
Maybe we should start off with the name.
Let's start out with the name.
Because that's where it kind of started. I was looking at the space for months and knew it was empty for a long time. And I have grown daughters, so early 20s. And we started talking about names, and I specialize in waxing. And
Okay.
it can get a little raunchy.
A little, yeah.
So we pulled it back. You know, it's a small town Hebrew. Wanted to, still have the name say about what I do. So Mind Your Beeswax came up, and it fits. It has the wellness aspect to it, that you're minding what you do and taking care of yourself.
Right.
Wax, of course, is implied. I feel 90% of my business that I do is waxing services. And then it's also saying that it's nobody else's business if you're doing that.
That's a good point. And how long have you been? And is esthetician? Is that what you
Yep, I'm an
are certified in
esthetician.
doing?
Uh-huh.
And how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for a little over 15 years now.
Okay.
So.
So a good long chunk of time.
Yep.
All those high schoolers I talk about are listening. That was when they were born.
Yes, that's true.
There's so many of them listening. I want you to know. Anyway, so I think it's great. So I know waxing is what you do, but you offer all kinds of different things there in the office. Tell me a little bit about what else you have.
We also offer organic facials. We use Eminence as our skincare line, and got to keep in mind the skin is our largest organ, and keeping it healthy keeps us healthy.
That's a big quiz question. A lot of people like to trick people with, "Hey, what's your largest organ?"
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh, your liver."
Nope.
And I'm like, "My brain." But it's really your skin.
It's really your skin.
And you said use organic facial. So go into that because organic's obviously a very hip thing to talk about. And
It is.
we want to be a hip town, right? Fist
Yes, we
bumping and
do.
whatnot.
Yes.
But why do you think, hey, this is an important thing to do organically instead of using the ones with all the chemicals and things like that?
I think it's just important to put on your skin what you're putting inside your body. So organics do that. It's like a raw food diet for your skin.
For your skin.
Yeah.
Sure. And we feel pretty good when we do raw food diets.
Yep, we do.
At least day 3,
Yeah.
maybe day 1 and 2. But yeah, that's awesome. So I like that there's that organic kind of plug for it. Obviously, there are all kinds of different skincare products out there, and I think almost daily I'm reading some sort of research article that's come out that said, "Oh, this may not have been as good as it, as we once thought for your skin," and we're putting it all over ourselves,
Right.
and now finding out that it's seeping into the bloodstream and not getting out and that kind of thing. And so, I think anybody out there contemplating, "Hey, what should I do to take care of my skin?" really should look into that. What are in the ingredients of the things that I'm using, and maybe not just Eva Longoria telling me to use it, right?
Exactly.
Even though
Yep.
she's got pretty nice skin,
Yep.
but I'm anticipating there's some other things going on there than just the stuff that she's promoting.
Probably.
You have a few people that work there too. Tell me who you have and how'd you kind of hook up with them, and I don't know if they're listening today, but.
Hopefully they are. Maybe. We have Michelle on staff. She's a massage therapist. We have 2 estheticians, one including myself. The other is Michelle Moody.
Uh-huh.
She spent like 10 years at Glen Wild as their spa director.
Right.
She's a Reiki master, a master herbalist. She has training in permanent cosmetics. So she's a really great asset. We love her.
Just does a lot of those kind of odds and ends types of
Yep,
things.
she does. And she's also does great facials, manicures, pedicures.
Cool.
Everyone loves her.
Now, you say Reiki Master, and I almost had forgotten that you guys do offer some of that. Tell me, is there anything? I know you used to do like a Tuesday night type of thing. Is that still going on or not really anymore?
The gentleman who was organizing it has moved to Ogden, and we're trying to push Michelle gently into let's do this on another night, or maybe just once a month. Or that's what we were doing, is once a month. So it would be nice to get it up. We've had several inquiries about it, and we'd love to do it again.
Yeah, it's something that not a lot of people know a ton about, but
Right.
I'll tell you, anybody that's had a really good Reiki session will definitely attest to its benefits for sure.
Absolutely.
So you do have there in the office Summit Orthopedic and Sports Massage, and that is my friend Michelle Barnhart. And Michelle, tell us about you have kind of a crazy story about how you got here to the Valley. You've been other places.
Yes, I just fondly say I was a wanderer for a while.
You really kind of were,
I
though.
was.
Did
And
you
I had
ever,
a lot of fun being a wanderer.
Did you ever go to a rainbow family gathering is my question.
No,
Close.
I did not.
I'm just kidding.
The closest
Yeah.
I came, I would say, is that I used to hang out with raft guides in Moab, Utah, who like to not really pay rent.
Yeah,
because
sure.
They're on the river all the time, so
I don't like to pay
you
anything.
sort of do live like a bum, but that's all right.
So tell us how you got into doing massage, how long you've been doing it, and I know your company's been around for probably about the same amount of time as Mind Your Beeswax, maybe a little longer.
Yes, I came over maybe just a couple months after Jodi
Right.
opened. I've been a therapist for 13 years now, I think. Losing track of time.
Yeah, that's all right. You can say around
It's
15,
10,
around.
you're like, whatever.
I went to
Ish.
I went to school at the New Mexico School of Natural Therapeutics in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I lived for 5 years. From there, I moved to Montana for a year and a half, and then I ended up in Moab. I had plans to go back to New Mexico that didn't work out, so I was in Moab for a couple of months.
It's
and
kind
then
of on the
here.
way.
Yeah, yep.
Were you heading there, and then you got to Moab and like,
Pretty
I
much,
think I'll
yep,
stay
that's
here
what happened. Yes.
and hang out with the raft bums.
Yes, actually. Yep, all my plans kind of fell through, and I kind of got stuck in Moab for a couple of months, and
And then you
actually
said,
that's how I
I'm-
ended up here.
I'm heading north.
Yeah,
Cool. So,
so it worked out well, though.
So clientele-wise, a lot of times what I like to do is get you to kind of almost an advertisement for what you do, who you're looking for. All of us kind of specialize in a specific thing, and Michelle, you always, your name has sports massage in it. Who do you like to see? Someone that walks in your door and you say, oh, that's like my ideal type of client. What do you look for usually?
I have a variety of people. I love sports and injury-specific massage. I'd probably say almost the only one that that may not like my services so much, because everyone's welcome. I like all my clients.
Sure.
That may not like my services so much are people who like a really light touch massage.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
You go
so well.
for it. You go for it.
So that's probably not the person for me, but really I welcome everyone.
Yeah.
And do what I can to help everybody.
Again, we talk about massage being this, it's such a luxury thing, right? We think if the only time I'm going to get a massage is if I'm on a cruise or if I'm staying at some 5-star hotel, why would you propagate or at least, tell people, hey, this is something that would be a really good routine type of thing, something that if you got in and did it, what do you tell people as far as trying to promote that kind of regularity?
A list of reasons. It depends on the person. For stress relief, for some people that just, we see the epidemic of people that now sit in front of computers who have the rounded shoulders and the very tight pecs.
Sure.
And all of that with the neck problems and, arms going to sleep and the whole thing. They definitely need to get in. I try to get them to get up and stretch, and I definitely promote yoga quite a bit too, to try to get people moving.
That arms going to sleep it's a fairly common issue.
It's so common now.
Isn't that funny? Almost to the point that people don't even mention it.
They don't. A
They're
lot
like,
of times I actually
oh
ask
yeah, but
them.
my arms fall asleep, but that's a normal thing.
Yeah, I end
and
up
I'm like,
asking
no,
them.
I don't think so.
It's not
You falling asleep is a normal thing. Arms falling
Unless
asleep.
maybe you're doing
not
that
as-
at your desk,
Well,
and
that's
then that's
right.
probably
Don't
not
fall
as
asleep at your
annoying,
desk. But yeah, it's not like, oh, my arms are just more tired. They need more rest. I'll let them fall asleep. No, that's really kind of a sign of some things going on. So it's good that you bring that up.
One of the things I get surprised about, we have so many people that are so physically active. They're almost like, some people here train almost the level of a professional athlete.
Sure.
And yet they don't get regular massage, and I'm always amazed by that. I'm like, if you're going to train that hard, you need to take care of yourself that well.
Yeah,
you have to recover that well.
It's almost as if they feel like, oh, because I'm working out so much, I don't need any healthcare services.
I know, they absolutely do.
Which, isn't that silly that
Yeah.
you're using your body in such a
It's
repetitive and
stressing.
such a stressful
Yeah.
type of manner that you're the ideal person. And again, we talk to people say, oh, I used to run and I loved it, but now I can't anymore because I destroyed my knees or destroyed my
Right.
hips or whatever like that. And really, I think that's a symptom of you did all that stuff and never really got yourself looked at or cared for.
Right.
And so you're allowed your body to degrade, to just completely, I don't want to say decompose. That's not at all what I'm thinking. But degenerate, to that specific point.
Yeah.
Jodi, tell me about who you like to walk through the door. Pretty much anybody could benefit from what you do.
Pretty much. I personally do lots of waxing, like we talked about.
So you like hairy people.
Hairy people, and there's a few of them out there.
You
But I'll remain nameless.
You see some of these movies, where the person gets their back or chest waxed, and
The 40-year-old version.
I kind of like that one where the man-o'-lantern
Yes.
idea.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever done a design in some of the almost on accident or on purpose even?
No, I've seen them on YouTube and things like that, but I've never actually had anybody request anything
Any
done into
special-
it. No.
Man-
Any
lantern?
special design? Maybe Halloween time. You can do like a man-o'-lantern special.
Maybe I could. You think there would be a market for that?
I don't know. I wouldn't if I were you. I don't know if that's a good idea. So you do the waxing, but tell me about this again, because this was a conversation that Michelle and I had. That again, it's one of these things that we almost dread spending money on ourselves in general.
That's true.
And so finally, when we think, oh, okay, I finally have to go and do this, or I finally have to go and do this, it becomes this almost negative type of thing. And so I would like to change that perception that money spent on ourselves, especially in kind of this de-stressing matter, will pay forward so much more as far as how we feel and how we live and how everything goes. And so so how do you kind of promote that also, Jodi, in this regular, hey, take care of yourself, it's good for you? Have you ever seen anyone come in and just almost have a day-changing type of an experience because they're getting themselves taken care of?
Absolutely. I think just looking better makes you feel better, so you want to take care of yourself more.
Right.
So,
But we just, like I say, it's almost one of these things that we just try to ignore or conquer on our own.
But even just the hour of, say, getting a facial or getting a massage where you're just focused on you've forgotten about everything else that's going on in your life,
Right.
for just that hour can make a huge difference.
well,
I think even just getting a haircut can do that for some
Absolutely.
people. It can
Exactly.
change your outlook on life for the day.
I just got mine cut recently, and it was, for me, actually, it kind of has more to do with the fact that I don't have to take as long to do it, but I do like it being a little shorter and a little bit more clean, right?
And the reverse mohawk looks good on you.
Thank you. I'm going for a mullet next time.
Nice.
I'm going to start growing that back out. I think mullet and a fist bump is really going to put this. I'm going for it.
Town on the map.
I would like the language to change from pampering to preventative medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Really. People need to get out of the mindset that it's something that you do that's special for yourself once or twice a year, and get
Right.
more into the mindset of preventative medicine.
Isn't it funny if we used exercise in that same kind of mentality?
Exactly.
Like, hey, I'm going to go to the gym twice this year, and when I'm really feeling like I need to work out, I'll do it once in January and then
Right.
once again after Thanksgiving in November.
Right.
And then if we look back and say, wow, how come exercise isn't doing anything for me? Like, man, I've been really consistent twice a year for the last 6 years, and I'm not getting any of these health benefits. Very similarly, and you mentioned stress, and we talk stress on this show so often that anyone that listens to it more than once or twice is probably rolling their eyes at this point. But really, when the National Institutes of Health comes out and says that up to 90% of disease is related to our stress and our stress response, then people say, well, what can I do on my own, right? That's a really big thing in my office. Someone will say, well, what can I do? Because I think they want to make sure that they're working on themselves. What can I do on my own to make sure that this or that stays, at bay or whatever? And I've started to really buy more into the fact of, instead of specifically stretching an area, specifically doing this or that, I just say, man, just try to get stress down. Somehow do whatever you can do to keep the stress in your life at bay, and down. And I don't mean, if you're stressed about your mortgage, quit paying it, or if you're stressed about your kids, send them away.
Yeah, just throw that bill right in the trash. Don't even worry about it.
That's right. I mean, obviously, the stress, the way that your body is dealing with the stress is such a big part. And so I think definitely what both of you do, if nothing else, at its very core, is starting to help people kind of unwind a little bit. And so I think there's nothing more that you can do for your long-term health, long-term day-to-day health, than just trying to keep that stress under control. I don't know if you guys have any amens or anything to add then.
They'll come in for eyebrow waxes and they lay down and they take a deep breath, and it's like, okay, how easy is that?
Yeah.
Just sit down and take a deep breath.
Yeah. And how much better do you feel after that? Like,
Yes.
And almost getting stressed to get ready to go and get there, and then you're like there, and then it's like, okay.
Yep.
But you can do that at home, for sure. Just take breaths, just lay down, just relax for a second. But really, I think, like you say, this pampering idea almost gets a bad name. And I don't know if it's a cultural issue, if it's all of the way around the world, but we almost just feel this, it's only for certain people. I wish I could do that. I wish I could afford it. And let's talk about affordability, because I think that's one thing that makes people nervous. They're like, it's going to cost me a fortune to try to do this. Tell me about kind of price-wise what you guys look at and how you try to make it affordable so that people can make it regular. Either of you.
I know. I'm like, we just look at
or both of you at the same time and really try to confuse people.
I try to go out of my way to find ways to make it work for everyone. So I have packaged rates that will save people money. I have a variety of different, you can come in and get a 30-minute massage if you don't feel like you can afford
Sure.
a 60, come in and get a 30.
Sure.
But I do all the way up to 2-hour massages, so just depending on what works for each of my clients. I don't know, we do specials and promos and all sorts of different things.
How can we get plugged into some of those special promotions? You just do them through Facebook? Do you have them on websites, things like that?
Mostly through Facebook, definitely on my website. So either way, that's probably the best place to look for it.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that's really when you offer those ideas and say, hey, this is something that you really can make work. I mean, I think whatever people's regularity can be, and that's the funny thing is you go in for, and you're about $1 an hour probably, right, or a little more. I can't remember your exact price.
$70 for 60
So
minutes.
$70 for 60 minutes, and you think, okay, yeah, if I tried to do that every day, it could add up for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think just the general benefit of doing it once a week, once every other week, once a month,
Right.
and it then becomes this very easy cost. I mean, how many people spend $200 on the phone bill,
Right.
and $300 on their cable and internet bill?
Yeah.
And what does that do for their longevity?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, what does
Exactly.
that, and so I think you look at your budget and you say, what can I do month to month, as far as really taking care of myself, and start to fuel some of those resources other places.
And increasingly, insurance is starting to cover massage.
Sure.
So in a lot of cases, I'm noticing a lot more that as long as your doctor will write you a prescription for some reason for a massage, your insurance will cover it at least to some extent.
There's
so
got
that's
to
always
be
something to look into.
There's got to be some diagnosis of too much stress, too stressed. I think there has to be.
But I think I think if people go and they're just in chronic pain, that's
Tons
some kind
of,
of say they sat in front of their computer and they've got the whole thoracic outlet syndrome that we were talking about going. I think that if they can get their doctor to write them a prescription for massage, then their insurance will.
Then insurance picks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be great.
It's increasingly it's becoming more frequent that's the case.
Jodi, tell me about some of your prices. I didn't
Ours
tell you
are-
to bring a list,
I didn't.
so I'm
I've got it pretty
interested
well.
to see if you know. Just
Yep.
kidding.
Our facials are 75, and that's for the hour, just like Michelle's
yeah.
hour. And we use Eminence, which is a little bit more on the pricey side, but they don't add water to their products, so it's really concentrated. So you're using less than
Yeah,
you would in
yeah.
your grocery store
Sure.
products. So it's actually saving you money,
Yeah, yeah. And it's organic,
and it's organic.
and I like that idea for
I mean,
sure.
you use such a tiny amount. Some of those last like a year, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
You buy
Sure.
them and they last the full year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and really, I think people that use skincare, hair care, all that kind of product, and aren't really looking into what's in them and what they're putting on their skin and in a sense in their body, if they haven't started to pay attention to that, hopefully they
Yeah.
are starting to, and hopefully the popular media is starting to get into that a little bit also, and say, hey, here are some things you really want to avoid, because they're starting to come out. I mean, these studies, again, we're not just prompted to study ingredients because, right? We put ingredients in stuff, and almost as a back channel, right? 10 years later, people start getting some weird condition, and they're like,
Right.
oh, maybe we should start studying some of these
It's like
ingredients.
every pill that you see on TV.
Exactly.
Take this pill to solve this small problem and create all these other problems. Enjoy.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I love it. You get the 30-second ad for it, and then the minute and a half of like, here's all the stuff that we're
Right.
supposed to tell you.
And then 6 months later, there's the lawyer ad about being sued, the company being
That's
sued
right.
for all the
That's
people
right.
that died
If you
from
took
taking
it, please call, and then you can get some money from it. And so I think in a very real way, if you make some of these things a part of your monthly lives, daily lives, whatever. I don't know what's a good frequency. I've never myself really even have had a facial, to be really honest.
Facials range. I like to say at least quarterly. It's change with the seasons as your body does.
Sure.
But our skin cells turn over about monthly. So
Yeah.
if you're working on something like hyperpigmentation or fine lines and wrinkles, maybe bump it up to once a month so that
Okay.
we're affecting new skin cells all the time.
Yeah, yeah. And quarterly, I think, could be doable for anybody. And
Yeah.
as you're saying that with the skin changing and things like that, I almost think of the snake that my son has that sheds.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder if we could do something like that. That would be weird.
I'm not giving a snake a facial. Sorry.
I know. Come on, let's bring him in. Let's see if it
Michelle
helps.
wants to work on his.
He is a vertebrate, so I've thought about adjusting him and seeing if it helps, but
Nice.
I haven't noticed any changes in his health. He doesn't escape anymore, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's excited to be there. I didn't really. We talked a little bit about kind of your journey into doing what you're doing, but tell me, really, in a sense, what got you excited, Jodi? 15 years ago, you thought, "Hey, this is what I want to do." Was it an experience that you had? Was it just something that you've always been interested in? What was kind of that idea to say, "Hey, this is what I want to devote my life to"?
That's a good question. I actually started out as a hairstylist. And
Okay.
Went to school. My husband was in the military, so he was in Korea for a year, and my kids were 3 and 5.
Yeah.
So it was something to do. And I knew I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom forever. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right,
I
right.
completely commend the people who do it. And I started off as a hairstylist at a big resort in Williamsburg, Virginia. Didn't do a lot of hair. Got to do more aesthetics,
Okay.
more manicures, pedicures, things like that. And just found passion for it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love helping
yeah.
people. Love
Well, again,
having people relax.
right, as you say, they walk in, they're all flustered. I mean, we're in such a world it's a whirlwind all the time. I mean, it's like yesterday was the epitome of that for me. Like I try to line my day up so nicely, like I plan everything. So I've got some time in between for this and that, and I always am behind. It's just something happens
I
that
think we all feel that way, don't we?
I'm
Perpetually
six-
behind
yeah,
on what we're
6
supposed
minutes,
to be doing.
6 minutes late to everything, It's like, great, you start off on time, and then everything just ends up piling on itself. And so I can imagine, I mean, people just, blow into your office like a whirlwind, and then they finally sit down, get that deep breath in and out, and then all of a sudden here they are, and they leave probably in a completely different manner.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the really neater things for them to. In fact, one of my favorite things that people say when they're leaving the office is, "I just need to go take a nap." And I'm sure both of you hear that
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
All the time.
Because I think we always need to take a nap. I was talking about recently, my wife has been thinking about, my youngest is about 15 months, and he's talking about, she's been saying, oh, do we need to keep him on 2 naps? Should we start having him do 1? When's that time to start changing that? And I'm like, why do we decrease naps? I think perpetually should increase the amount of naps that we take. And so then when he's, when I turn 40, I should be taking, 30 naps a day.
I know when you're a kid, you're throwing a fit because you don't want to. I would never like taking naps when I was a kid, and now I'm like,
isn't it crazy? I know.
What was I
We go
thinking?
back, I think, and I tell my kids the same thing. I'm like, you are going to laugh when you get older, and you're like, man, how come we waste all this good nap time? Even bedtime, it's one of those where you feel like, we did this last night and the night before. Why does it always seem like a new thing to you that we're putting you to bed? And then my kids are always like, it's no fair. You guys get to stay up later. And I'm like, son, I would be going to bed right now if I could. Like, this isn't because, oh, good, now I can. Well, part of it is, yay, now the kids are in bed. We can party. But anyway, it's just kind of an interesting. So yeah, I think even that desire to take a nap is, I think, the body telling us, hey, it's time to regenerate. It's time to have you ever had anyone fall asleep doing a facial, Jodi?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Make these little snoring noises. Not like deep snore, just like
yeah, but you can tell.
But totally a compliment. Like,
yeah, I think for
to
sure.
let people relax and to
the
feel
point
that
that
they're
they can fall
comfortable.
asleep.
Yeah, that's actually a good point to make, because I get people that apologize for falling
All the
asleep,
time.
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
no, you can fall asleep. It's fine.
They wake up 3 days later. They don't know where they are.
Shake 'em.
There are some spas that are actually, that had started doing that, where you would come get your massage or whatever, and then they actually have a room where you could pay to go and
The
take
nap
a nap.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Puts you
charge
in
an
a
hour for a nap?
Cocoon.
Yeah.
I see these hotels that charge hourly. That's probably what they're advertising, right?
I don't think it's quite.
To go in and take.
It may not be the same thing.
Huh, that's strange. I don't know what they're advertising for. But yeah, no, I think I wonder what that would be an interesting room. Anyway, I like the idea, because I think we need to sleep more in general. And I think these are kind of the things that can help us, get on that track. How many people just lay awake at night thinking about everything, can't really concentrate, can't really relax? And I think if we do more things that help us get in the mode of relaxing. In fact, we talked about an article that was talking about sleep problems and what we can do. And one of those things was find ways that you know how to relax and be able to kind of get into that mindset. And some people just don't know how to do that.
They don't, and I don't think people don't live in the moment anymore. It's sort of like what you're saying. They're sort of off thinking about what might happen tomorrow or next week, or some kind of other worry that they have.
Right.
And that's how they become so out of tune with themselves and their own bodies and what's going on with themselves.
Sure.
So it's actually part of what I'm trying to do when I'm working with people is make them hopefully make them pay a little bit more attention to how they're feeling today.
Yeah.
And be in tune with that a little bit better. So in a lot of cases, I get people that ask me, well, they want me to direct them. How often do you think I should come? And I'm generally tell them, it's up to you.
Right. Right.
You should, try and pay a little bit more attention to how you're feeling. And when you're starting to feel these things bother you, then come and see me.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of waiting till your arms are falling asleep all the time.
Exactly.
The other thing I wanted to ask you too, Michelle, as far as getting into massage, what was that an event that you had in your life? Was it something? Tell me what got you interested in that.
In amongst the wandering and the not really knowing what I was doing with myself.
Nomadery.
Yes, I was kind of one of those people who really just did not know what I wanted to do, and so I fell into massage. I had a friend who was talking about going to massage school, and that's literally how I ended up going to massage school.
And you were staying on her couch, and so you thought, okay, well, I guess I better...
No. It was someone that I worked with at the time.
I'm just kidding.
but I have done that before. No, I'm kidding. But so I have to kind of credit my school, really. I had a really good experience. I liked my school. I had a really good experience going to school, and I really appreciated and loved massage. By the time I was done, I really had gained this great appreciation for it and understanding of it, and really, really appreciated it, and have stuck with it all this time.
Well, I think we have these, pathways in our lives. What do we want to do? I don't know what I want to do. And then that's just funny that this friend would be like, hey, I'm going to SOSM school. Like, hey, that sounds good. Why not? And then, yeah, exactly. And then after the program.
Yeah, at that time, I was super frustrated because I was at the point of, I still don't know what I want to do.
Yeah,
I was kind of
yeah.
all over the place. So I was checking out all sorts of different things. And then this one person mentioned it. And that was how I ended up.
Hey, all right. Yeah, that sounds
That's
good.
how I ended up going.
You just got in a line.
I did. I was like, why not? I'll give this a try.
I don't know what's the end of this line, but there's people in it, so I'm going to get in it.
But I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
So, and the funny part is I only ever checked out one school
Yeah.
that has a great reputation in Albuquerque, and loved it. Had a great experience.
Well, and
there.
you could have had a
So-
different experience at another school that maybe
Exactly.
not would have turned you into how you practice today. And so
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's that kind of cosmic, hey, what do you want to do? Kind of put it out there, and then these things are kind of put in your pathway, and you go to the right school. I kind of feel the same way myself. My first chiropractic treatment was as a student by another student, which is
Right. My first massage was by a student
Yeah.
from the school that I went to.
Isn't that a scary thing?
Mhm.
Looking back at it, I would never tell a student that wants to go into it, like, please go to a professional and actually get it professionally done before you go into, because it can completely change your whole outlook. Oh my gosh, is this what I'm about to do?
Right.
And luckily, the student that worked on me for the first time was very very good, and so I had a great experience. But I know other students that were in his same class that were not as good, and so my classmates didn't have a great experience. And I can only imagine being there and getting my first treatment and be like, man, that was awful. Like, what am I doing? But, it's kind of the same thing. You go to these schools, and that's what I sort of hope that this show can do for people on a much smaller scale, is just get us to have different conversations about our health and different ideas about, what do I do to just make sure I'm healthier. The dream, I think, really is not just to live longer, because who wants to live longer on machines?
Right.
In fact, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody in the office, and he had a pretty radical procedure that I had never really even heard of. He had esophageal cancer, and they tried to get rid of it, and they tried this and that, and finally got to the point that the esophagus had to go. And so they took his esophagus and then took part of his small intestine and put it where his esophagus goes.
Wow.
And looking at him, you would never have a clue. And how he talks, and he says he eats pretty normally, and there's only an issue of not being able to really lay down. There are a few things that the esophagus does that the small intestine doesn't. Anyway, but I just thought, what a crazy, almost sci-fi type of thing, that now he has the ability to continue to live because they were able to kind of change that out. But I don't think the idea is, how can they just keep me alive?
Right.
Instead, how can I live?
Yeah. It's more like, how can I be responsible for my own quality of life
Right.
for as long as I possibly
Right.
can,
And instead of at the age of whatever starting to come down with some of these issues and thinking, oh, I'm just getting old, but at the point really we realize that, but I didn't really take care of myself.
Right.
Here's this body that I just sort of abuse, and we talk about athletes, we talk about people that really push themselves. That's abuse, Your body's like, hey, there's a reason that you get sore and things like that, because really you're really working at it. And so if we don't take care of it at the time, then yeah, we get to that point in the older years that we say, oh gosh, it's just so bad to get old. But I think, no, you know what, it's bad to get old when we haven't taking care of ourselves, because now we're getting the accumulation of all of those years of
Right.
quote unquote good living, right?
Yeah.
That's what we like to say.
Right.
And so I think definitely, in our younger years, right, I think we should be considered young, right? I think that's okay. We're all under the age of 50.
Oh, whatever, yeah.
70. I think that's still young. I do have people, both of you probably have people come in and be like, oh, I'm just getting old. And you're like, I'm sorry, can I see your driver's license? Are you 27? Are you starting to blame things on old age already? That's going to be a long time that you get to use that excuse. I did have an 84-year-old in the office, and he started blaming some things on age, and I kind of gave him that. I thought, okay, you're 84, you're allowed. But in their 30s, I don't allow them to. So anyway, so when we take care of ourselves, when we do these types of things on a monthly, quarterly, whatever it is basis, then when we get older, we start to realize, hey, all those things I used to do for myself are now giving me those benefits. And I think we will start to see, as these chronic illnesses continue to be on the rise, as heart disease, cancer, diabetes, all these kinds of things, that are lifestyle diseases, right? CDC has come out and called them lifestyle conditions.
It's all sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying these are things that are preventable if you change the way that you live instead of just sitting around all the time.
And then eating fast food.
Exactly. Or eating food fast too. I think you can have problems both ways. But but so that's, we'll see this kind of, I think, big disparity as our generation continues to age and whatever, and we start to see, okay, some of us are really living the life that we thought we would because we've been taking care of ourselves the way that we should have. And then the other group of people that will, in fact, we talk about our kids, right? The generation that I'm raising is supposed to have a lower life expectancy than me, which is, again, an alarming statistic, and one that I think is the most telling about our healthcare right now and how we value our health. And that's really what I want to see, is these kids start to have this just very easy view of, hey, these are the kids that took care of themselves. These are the kids that grew up in a family or a household or a community or some sort of group that really wanted health, that really wanted to seek that out and do these types of things that are not luxury things, that are really day-to-day, keep ourselves healthy types of things. And then there will be the group of kids that grew up and thinking all of that was, for somebody else, and they don't take care of themselves, and they'll start dying off young, and this other generation will start dying, living longer, and then we'll start to have some of these studies that we're seeing with the runners and saying, this is what we should have been doing.
Right.
And so I think if we can peer into the future and say, hey, what is the future of healthcare going to look like? I think more and more it's going to look like, hey, these are the people that did these things to take care of themselves and keep themselves healthy on a day-to-day basis. And then these are the people that just thought that they'd take care of it later.
Well, I'm hoping that we're finally kind of swinging away from the there's a pill for everything, a quick fix for everything kind of
I wish
attitude.
that were true. I want you to know I still get people coming to my
but
office.
It's not reality.
It's not reality at all. So hopefully we're just getting away from that. Hopefully.
There was a tagline of one of the drug companies a long time ago that talked about better health through chemistry. Mm-hmm. And they don't talk about that anymore.
Oh.
I think we found out that that's not exactly how it happens. But I'll tell you, it really is something, and what both of you do, exactly. It's the front lines of, hey, let's get in, let's get de-stressed, let's just take care of ourselves. Let's give some time and money to ourselves so that then we can give more time and energy to other people and to other things. And I think once we have these centering moments where we can just finally relax and think about just nothing, even. And then we can finally say, okay, I can go conquer the world after that. That's the other way that I think people feel after they take care of themselves a little bit. They say, okay, now I'm ready to go and do more things.
I don't have statistics in front of me, but that's actually kind of what they talk about when you do on-site massage at businesses, where when you give your employees the break to go get like a little 15-minute or a half-an-hour chair massage, they're actually more productive afterward.
And they get up and they say, okay, I'm ready to. And the next 25 minutes is like the most productive 25 minutes. And then after 25 minutes in there. No, I'm just kidding. It probably lasts longer than that. Anyway, just appreciate you guys being on. Our time just flies by in here. I feel like I have so much more that we could talk about, but it was really fun to have you on. Again, Mind Your Beeswax, tell us kind of information, phone number, where you're at, all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people that traverse Main Street have seen it.
Isn't it crazy? Like, it's right in the center of town where Hero Bank Block Building. It's right there.
Yeah.
And people drive by and don't even realize that we're there.
Now, where are you located?
2 South Main Street, right here in Heber. It's 435-654-4524. We also have our website, mindyourbeeswax.com. You can book online. You can find out information. You can email me through it.
Specials will be on there as they come here and there.
Specials will be, And then we have a Facebook page. You can follow us on Facebook.
Nice. Facebook's kind of becoming less cool. I know Instagram's kind of, but I haven't changed yet. I don't know if
don't
we'll have
use
to in
those
the near
too.
near future, but the kids, right? Again, all my high school friends.
Yep.
People listening are like, why does he hang out with high school kids so often? I don't really, but that's what I've heard. Is that? But anyway, but Facebook I think still is used among
Yep.
us less cool fist bumping people. And Michelle, tell us how to get a hold of you.
I do my own booking, so it's best to call me directly at 435-659-9625. Or you can book online on my website, www.sosm.net.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's the way to get a hold of you. So thank you again for coming on. This has been really fun. And you know, get out and be healthy today. I think finally the sun's out, so
Come
you
get
can
a
go out and do
massage.
things. Yeah, come get a massage. Go get a facial, right? Get it scheduled. Get ready to go, and get out to the fair. Maybe try not to eat as many funnel cakes as you can. You know, maybe have one because it's the fair. But anyway, but go out and do everything and be healthy. And if you do it for no other reason, of course, as I always say, do it for the health of it. Thank you for listening.